Lesson 30. At the beginning of the course you received a PDF file, 3 PDF files. One of those was a small booklet titled Atma Vidiya, or Subtle Anatomy. Subtle anatomy, I think I explained at the beginning of the course, or maybe during the workshop, the introduction workshop, that if you look at modern yoga courses, the professional courses, a large part of the curriculum is physical anatomy. And you have to learn a lot about the body, physical body, the joints, the muscles, the spine, etc. And there's a lot of emphasis also on the physical benefits of asana. So that takes up maybe 70% of a course. But if you look at traditional yoga, it is not concerned with the physical body at all. There is no traditional yoga book with a chapter or even a paragraph on physical anatomy. And the reason for that is that the foundation of our existence is energy. If the energy is good, the physical body is good. It's the same principle that is the foundation of traditional medicine. Korean traditional medicine, Chinese traditional medicine, they don't focus on the symptoms, they focus on the cause, which is always a blockage in the energy circulation. So, this is the anatomy according to yoga, and it doesn't talk about the physical body. The physical body is just a very small part of this. What we discussed today is what Ajita calls the yin-yang model, and it explains how we are constructed, describing the different bodies that we exist of, and also the process from pure energy to the manifestation of the physical body. So, it is a yin-yang model that you see here in my booklet. That is page 17, but I don't know if that translates into the PDF file that you received. The outer layer of the yin-yang model, the egg, is called avyakta. The avyakta is the soul. So it's pure energy. It's not your brain, it's not your physical body. It's pure energy. It's a vibration. It's a vibration that the universe is full of these kind of vibrations. And well, this is a little bit a complicated story and a little bit a long story. In advanced yoga, you learn that as a result of karma, the vibration that is floating around the universe manifests eventually in a body. As long as the vibration is harmonious, it doesn't manifest. The same as the story of the creation of the universe. First there is Om, then it starts to, because of subtle desire, it starts to undulate, tamas rajas, more and more undulation until it flips over and it becomes an atom, the manifestation of matter. So it starts with energy. The human being starts with the soul, the vibration that we know as soul. Within the soul, we find, as a result of condensation of energy, we then find a body that is called, I should use my glasses because I think I called the wrong body here. Yeah. This is not avyakta, this is purusha, the soul. Story is the same, the name is just different. Avyakta is what comes after or out of purusha. Now, avyakta is a concept that nobody knows how to explain, so I don't also want to even try. But avyakta is what we know as the unmanifested self. I asked Ajita, what does that exactly mean? And he said, I also asked my mentors, what does that exactly mean? And it's just the concept of avyakta, or the unmanifested self, is just impossible to rationally explain. What I'd say is that each person has typical characteristics that manifest in the next body. Before that next body, there is avyakta. It hasn't manifested yet. So it exists, but it has no character, it has no manifestation. That's all I can say about it. The manifestation happens in the next body. This body is called Atman. Atman is the self with a capital S. So that is your true self. Now you would say, yeah, I know my true self. I am myself. Most people don't know who their true self is, because unconditioned people, unconditioned people, the idea that they have of who they are is based on identifications. Depending on the country you were born in, the culture you were raised, the education that you had, your hobbies, your friends, parents. The media, of course, has a huge influence on the exposure to the media gives us all kinds of identifications too. But that is self with a small s. We don't even talk much about that because it's irrelevant. Because for us, one of the big goals of yoga is, in fact, to realize Atman, to find our true self. It's one of the niyamas, self-study. And it is related to Svadhisthana chakra, which is the seat of the self with a capital S. So naturally, people who practice yoga, when their yoga practice is correct and it leads to harmony, sattva occurs in Svadhisthana chakra, yoga practitioners naturally connect with their true self. It's a slow, gradual process, but it is every practitioner will connect with the true self, with Atman. You can talk a lot about it, and it makes everything more complicated, It happens in silence, it happens in sattva. There's a very interesting story related to Atman. It's about the Buddha. The Buddha was originally located in India. And you know the story of Buddha? It is an anecdote, whether it really happened like that, not sure, but it's an interesting anecdote because it is about sattva. It's about finding the middle way. He went from one extreme, luxury and comfort, to another extreme, austerity with the fakirs. And then he decided both is not good, something in the middle, somewhere in the middle is the answer. So the Buddha was a person of practical approach. He was then one day visited by what they call pandits, which are scholars, who challenged him to explain Atman. But pandits, they are scholars who do not necessarily practice yoga. They just theorize about everything, just like our modern day scientists. Most of them without any intuitive insights, they just theorize, and often giving you a headache if you listen to those theorizations. The Pandits challenged Buddha on Atman, to explain Atman, and Buddha's answer was very blunt. He said, anatta, 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 which means no Atman. And he sent them away. And as a result, they condemned Buddha, thinking that he denied the existence of Atman. But what Buddha meant by saying no Atman is don't talk about it. If you want to find Atman, just close your eyes in silence and you will connect. Talking about it doesn't realize anything. It is the reason why Buddhism is almost non-existent in India these days. Because the Buddhists moved over the Himalayas and went to China. Kung Fu, the Chinese martial arts, originates from the Indian Buddhists that traveled over the Himalayas, the story goes. So, Atman, the self. Within Atman, the condensation of energy continues, leading to the next body that is called Karana Sharira. I think you asked something about Karana Sharira last week, right? Sharira simply means body. Karana means causal, the causal body. It is the crown chakra. The causal body, the spiritual body, or Karana Sharira. Why is it called the causal body? It is the cause of who we are. To put it very simply. So Karana Sharira is the crown chakra, still outside of the boundaries of our body, above our head, so to speak. Within Karana Sharira, you then find Sukshma Sharira. Which, as you can guess, it's Ajna Chakra, the mental body. Sukshma Sharira is the mental body. And it is indeed Ajna Chakra. Within Sukshma Sharira, you then have Sthula Sharira. Which is not a chakra, it is the lower 5 chakras altogether, the physical body. Sthula Sharira is the physical body. So this model is endless because within Sthula Sharira you have 5 chakras. The throat chakra, Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura, Svadhisthana, Muladhara. If you contemplate this model, you realize that it's endless. There is a microcosmos, there is a macrocosmos. The macrocosmos is the cosmos as we know it, the universe. We consider ourselves to be a cosmos in itself, existing out of all these bodies. So we are a microcosmos within a macrocosmos, but if you contemplate the issue, you realize that there's a lot that we don't know. Because what we consider to be the microcosmos, the macrocosmos, our universe, is a body that might be just a small part of another macrocosmos. In the same way that within our body, you see one body, there are billions of cells. Who knows? Each of these cells is a cosmos on its own and contains billions of other microcosmoses. We don't have the technology to see that yet, either on a macrocosmos level or a microcosmos level. But it is very intriguing to just think about, very humbling, I find, to think how endless this is on both the macrocosmos level and the microcosmos level. There is a video on YouTube, it's called The Power of 10. Power of 10 is a video, it's just a short, I think a 10-minute video, where there's a couple is lying in a park somewhere in the United States, I think, on a blanket in a park, just enjoying summer. That's not so important. What they do is they start with a view of this couple, and then by the power of 10, they take distance from it into the cosmos. And the images that you see is very interesting, because first they zoom out, and once they have reached the maximum out zoom, they then start zooming in, and they go inside the body, and they look at the cell structure and the genes and what have you. It's a little bit related to this. The idea is simply that there is no end to how far it can go into the macrocosmos and how far it can go down into the microcosmos. You understand a little bit what I'm trying to say here? Your body is a cosmos on its own, with its own different bodies. But within each of those bodies, there might be another cosmos, another microcosmos, etc. All right, questions about the model or one of the concepts that we described here?
If you achieve that by any one of the energy level, then you can move on to the next.
No, good question. I think there's one too much, it doesn't matter. So, the head of a human being would be here. The head of a human being would be here. There's just one chakra too much. This is the physical body. And most people, everybody basically, is only aware of this part. And mainly, actually, this part. The part where the lower emotions and desires are located. So people are disconnected. People are not whole. Their functioning is based on a very small part of their being. When you meditate regularly, you harmonize. As a result of the harmonization, the bodies start to connect. And your consciousness develops a subtlety of sensitivity that allows you to connect with the higher levels of consciousness. That is why Atman, the self, naturally manifests into people who meditate. But because it is a very subtle process, people are not really aware of it. They do know that they have changed. They do know that they feel better and maybe more complete as a human being as a result of their practice. But technically how it works and what actually happened, people don't know. A holistic human being or a whole human being is a human being who is functioning as a whole model, not just only in the 3 lower chakras mainly. So we live in a world where people function mainly in the 3 lower chakras, a lot in Ajna chakra also because of education, but because there is no harmony, there is no crown chakra activity, so it's very limited. This is also the cause for all the misery in the world. All the wars, all the destruction of nature and mistreatment of other human beings and animals alike, that's only possible because people are functioning based on lower levels of consciousness, emotions and desires. If more people start functioning as holistic human beings, there will be no suffering anymore. That is why the value of spiritual practice, not only yoga but any proper spiritual practice, cannot be underestimated. Because it makes the world a better place. Any person that starts following this path of development becomes a positive influence on the rest of the world. On a small scale, some people on a bigger scale, depending on the influence that you have. So for people who don't understand this, they think that, spiritual practice, that's a luxury. It's better to work, earn money, or do something useful. But it actually is very useful. The world needs more of people that are on the spiritual path, whether that's yoga or any other spiritual practice. As long as it's done correctly and leads to sattva, it leads to the same result. Whether you're in Asia or in Europe or wherever you are, it leads to the same development in every human being. All right, let's have a short break.